I don't know if you guys saw on my Facebook page, I did share a links for Malik. Malik is going through a hard time, and he has a collarbone cancer that he had a surgery recently, which it costs about 20 grand, and he does not have the medical and the insurance company to cover it. So he started a GoFundMe account on Facebook page. Please visit my Facebook page and Spani Punzombu Nyeme for more information. The link is there. Click anything you have, $10, $20, $15, any amount that you have, there's no requirement. Please, let's support him. Malik is a young man. He's 22 years old, and it's just really sad that to see that happen. But we pray God to help him and for a faster recovery and a quick process, so that his healing process get better. But also, don't leave him, and don't forget to pray for him as well in your prayer. Once again, his name is Malik. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. So, Uncle Chi, how have you been?
I'm good, man.
Good.
Another Monday. The month of April is about to finish.
Yeah.
Time is flying. Life is good, man. Can't complain.
Is good. I know. And let's increase on the viewership, guys. You guys are liking. Come on. You know what's funny? There's a lot of people watching, but they don't want to subscribe.
Give them time.
They don't want us to make the Benjamins, man.
Hey. It's okay. Hopefully they get the message.
Yeah, that's what's important to us. You have to get the message, and So yeah, Uncle Chi, today's a nice day, and last for this entire month we have talking about a relationship. So I think we concluded relationship, and today we decided to jump on a different topic.
You wanna switch?
Yeah,
let's switch.
What
do you got?
Well, I think this is something we have we talked about a little bit over the weekend, and and I think it's important that we talk about it, because we are becoming parents, we are now married, and all these things.
Yeah.
To put it in a context of a theme, is going to be how important is to preserve our African culture. So a culture preservation.
Okay.
And that's what things. What can we carry on? What can we pass on to our offsprings, and how can that be beneficial for us? And also, what is culture? We need to define all those things.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important to define what culture is, because I've seen where people are being abused physically, mentally, and one of the reason behind is like, that's our culture.
Yeah.
I disagree with any culture that abuse.
Okay. Anybody.
That abuse, gender, race, all those things. I don't consider as a culture. Those are the things in the culture that we need to leave behind and take what's good with us. And just like I'm sure.
So what are some of the things that are good in terms of what can we carry over?
So for me, I would say language.
So it is important to teach your children your native language.
Yes.
They must know it.
So I think it's very important to know our language.
Yeah.
because you're not going to teach your kids what you do not know.
Exactly.
And some of us came here at a young age, and you might be hard to remember. I don't know how people forget the language, but
Well, yeah, it's one of those things you cannot forget. And like you said, it is important for us, parents who are watching, to teach their kids their language, their culture. The things that their parents have taught them.
yes,
All the good things. Let's say the good
no,
things,
all the
not
good
bad
things
one.
that come from that define us of who we are.
Who we
Because
are.
at the end of the day, I don't care where you go. You're African.
Yeah, like let's say like our culture, maybe
The
things
names too.
like the names,
Like they call your name, like you're not from here.
the names. So since you mentioned name, okay, how important it is for us to pass on the name, our native name, because the way name used to be given in African culture, it has a significant meaning behind it.
Yeah, I do believe a person is their name. So, don't just find something on the internet that sounds good. I think it's very important to know the meaning of
The name.
Is and don't just name your kid and assume that they're gonna become that name. Also, teach your kids like, okay, this is why I named you, and this is what it means, and all those
This
things.
is the
Don't just
culture behind it and all
yes,
these things.
because
So since we are talking about name, we African, we tend to have some of the hardest name that Muzungu cannot pronounce.
no. No.
So
Have you seen Russian's name? No. I'm being serious. Have you seen Russian's names?
I've seen Russians' name. I've heard it's even way harder than Africans' names.
Yes. So no, and there's some Mzungu's name. Like, how do you pronounce that?
John Smith.
No. Those are not. There's some Mzungu's name. Like, no, man, that's hard to pronounce. So no, that shouldn't be an excuse.
So it is true. Let's stick to our root. If somebody really cares about you, they would make the effort to learn how to pronounce your name.
Of course.
And
you tell them.
Yeah, let's not try to shy away saying that, oh well, I want my kid to have certain type of
American name,
because in fact that is not your culture.
I mean, that shows how colonized we are. When we're talking about colonization, it show you
what the colonizer did to us.
No,
they made us change the way we used to dress.
No,
we adapted
everything. Like who died and made kitenge a traditional cloth? No, kitenge is not an African cloth.
Really?
No, it's not. But we can talk about all that. Muzungu made money all off of you guys. Call it talking about his tradition. Anyway.
So one, don't change your name because you want to adapt to please certain type of people.
But it happened to me. I remember I used to dislike when people call me Minani.
What is Minani?
I mean, I still don't like Minani.
What is Minani?
It means eighth, bro.
It means number 8?
It means eighth, the eighth child in the family.
Aren't you and the eighth child?
Yeah, it is, but I feel like it should have been deeper than that, man. Come on. Like, what is the meaning of being eighth? Well, what is so special about eighth?
Well, you are the special 8, bro. Come on. Yeah. Maybe you need to look at in the biblical stance. Find out what number 8 mean in the Bible.
No, there's one of the favorite number in the Bible is 12, 3 and 7.
Oh man.
So I'm not in 8. I'm in between 7 and 12. Maybe I'm the 8th disciples. Who knows?
So you are the only one who's Minani, 8.
No, there's many Burundians named 8 and even Rwandese. I'm Burundian.
Okay, so do you?
No, I don't like it in a way. I don't see the point.
Will you change it?
I I wanted to, but it costs like $300. I forgot to do it when I got my citizenship, but I wanted to, in a way, to get it like a different
name.
Burundian name.
Like what? What is one example?
Senga.
Senga, you know what does mean in Lingala?
What does it mean?
Ask.
No, you know what it means in Nani, in Kirundi?
What?
It means pray.
Amen.
So I wanted to take that, like my dad has this long name and Senga is in it, so I was like, okay, let me just take that from my dad's name.
For your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it also costs $300, so I'm sticking with Minani, and I like Theo, even though he's colonizer name. So the full name is Theonest, and Theonest means divine's gift.
At least you have a meaning. Come on.
It means God's gift, but it's still a colonizer's name.
Okay.
Yeah, but so to make everybody, I don't like Minani, not because it's a Kirundi name. I don't see the point of being 8th.
You are the 8th child, bro.
Yeah, still, what does that mean?
It means you are the 8th child.
There's no meaning on it. I feel like it got to the point where it's like, man, too much kids. You know, gotta figure out names. I hope my dad won't see this.
we keep it. We make sure he knows how you feel about it.
I tease him about it.
You do. That's good.
Yeah, I tease him about it, like, you know. But yeah, so I'll stick with Minani.
Okay, so stick with your name. Stick with your native name. Don't change it. You know, don't change it. Hey,
no, our languages are very beautiful. We need to accept them.
Yeah, and teach it to our kids and pass it on to it. You know, when I was in college, a male person came. He was writing down our name because we just have name and address change, and he was writing name of everyone that was living in the house. And when he came to me, he started writing down. He paused. He was like, "Hey man, you know, you will never make it to the U.S. Army." I was like, "Why?" You say your name. He's like, "It's more than 10 letters." Like,
nah,
your last name, man.
There's nothing. So imagine if you really wanted to be in it, you either cut it short or change it to please the colonizers, the oppressor.
So,
but no, I don't think. I mean, we have to accept who we are. Like, you know, we have to accept our identity. We have to,
as African, and also be proud of it.
So as African, that's a broad. So for me, I'll go as a Burundian.
Okay.
Yeah. As a Burundian because.
Oh, you're an African anyway.
I'm Burundian.
You're an African.
I am Burundian, and
do we need a debate about that?
Yeah, I feel like the Africa comes second.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
First of all, you are Burundian, but African.
So, because there's some people that call Africa a country. So,
well, we just want to put this.
But
every African watching, that's what we are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they all have each place where they're from. Okay, I'll give you an example, bro. How many languages in your country?
How many language? More than 200 something language.
Okay. In my country, there's one language. The one cultural tradition, whatever you want to call it, language. And there's ethnicities. There's 3. We all speak the same language. We all, everything is the same. Just the ethnicities, height and nose. That's how they look at you. Like, okay, by the height or the nose, you are this, you're this, you belong here, and we're just 3, and we can get along.
That's good. In my country, there's more.
No. I'm saying we just 3.
Yeah,
we can get along.
Have 3.
We just 3. We can get along.
So imagine a small country, though.
So no. Still, so imagine. You know how we all for African United. So imagine we just 3, right? We can't get along, and then so imagine imagine taking all the African country to be united.
That's another conversation for another day. It's never going to work.
I think it will work. It will take a while, but
Yeah, because it's easy for you to set up because there's only three major ethnicity in your country. Like Congo, there's more than 400, I believe.
there's
If you go to another country, there's more than. So how are you going to
actually,
put all
if you
those?
think about it, there's actually measure two. The third one really we oppress it like all the time. Like the two are always fighting. They're the one we beef, and the other ones is like, look, you guys are. It's like the saying, like when two elephants fight, the
The grass suffer for it.
Yeah, so I think the third one just be like, look, man, you guys do that. We don't want to be involved. Cause, but yeah, anyway, so we just three and we can get along. So,
Okay.
but anyway,
Well, let's get back to what else. We mentioned names,
Mhm.
okay? Languages. Name and language. I think we just touched on
yeah,
that.
name and language.
What about what else? What about foods?
Food. I think nowadays, man, we have to go with healthy way. Honestly, we have to go with
But most of our food are healthy.
It depends. I mean, honestly, everything here is processed, man. And I see now.
But
and
for men living here in the US or in the Western society, you need to be careful of what you are feeding your body.
bro, most of us can read. That's another topic. But I don't know if you notice now, we African stores, we go to those African store, and those African stores, some of them, okay, I would say like with fufu flour, like they get from some Muzungu's places,
Yeah.
And it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stores that are getting most of their the product from,
From
back home.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not as processed as here. And that's too much work, don't you think? So I don't know. With food is kind of complicated, man.
Mhm.
Because there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, this is our language.
Mhm.
We're gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
There's no health reasons to that attached to that. There's no health reason. There's no health issues attached to naming your kid your tradition name. But when it comes to food, especially this food we're getting here,
Mhm.
we're learning like these people really they're killing us slowly.
Yeah.
And-
No, you are right about that.
So with food is kind of complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave it to the nutritionist.
I love beans though, so
is it that I feel like bean is more popular food between all the Eastern African country?
so bro, my country is like in central, but like politically is in east. So anyway, that's another topic. But I grew up on beans, so
And do you eat with sugar too?
No. That's my wife's side. This one time she came to my
Beans,
place.
you don't eat beans with sugar, guys. I'm telling you guys, you're ruining it. You're not the first person that introduced me to this.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
Yeah, why not?
It was by Pierre.
Sugar.
Sugar. I
Me
think
was my wife, and she
I
still
think-
do it.
I think it was one Sunday we stopped at his place and he cooked rice and beans.
And then
And
so rice, beans, avocados, they put sugar.
they put sugar in. My wife still puts sugar into her avocado these days.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. So
And she ruined it for me.
so should we? Because for me, honestly, I feel like avocado is like a fruit.
Yeah.
It's a fruit, and you're supposed to eat it that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of a fruit. You're not supposed to
I don't mind
increase.
putting a little bit of salt in there.
Nah,
Like when I try to make it like an hors
You put
d'oeuvre.
salt.
When I make like an hors d'oeuvre, I put it together, like try to make it like a guac,
Mhm.
like guacamole.
I feel like I don't think we should put anything in fruits.
Well, avocado is a little
So-
bit different.
How were you eating avocado back to your place?
Well, back when I made my avocado, because if I let my wife make it, guess what? There's going to be sugar in it.
Yeah.
And we always argue over that. Like, you see her eating avocado and you want to, she just ruin it.
Yeah.
You know?
Now,
So when I eat my avocado, Uncle T,
uh-huh.
I remove the avocado
Mhm.
from the avocado. I pull in the bowl. Okay, I get a knife. I cut a little bit of onions on top of that. What else? Onion. And I just mix it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
mix it.
sugar
No, bro, no
and
sugar.
salt.
I just put a little bit of salt.
Okay.
Just a tiny bit, just to make it, give me a taste of that saltiness. I just want a little bit of salt in there. That's all I do, and I
Yeah,
eat it with bread.
I try. Ah, man.
So
Food. Yeah, food I think is very complex. But like, okay, you just mentioned your wife and I
Mhm.
mentioned my wife.
Yeah.
Is that their culture? Eating beans, rice, and avocados with sugar? Is that their culture? Should we respect it since it's their culture?
I don't know. Me personally, I would decline it. I would say no. I would say no because
I can't eat it.
if I go to them, they put rice and bean and they put sugar like you. To me, I first of all, I would take it as a disrespectful or as an insult. Like I grew up
Yeah.
my life. I don't eat rice and beans.
But
with
they
sugar.
don't know. Maybe they thought,
Nah, bro. And we are talking about health. That's too much. What is the amount of sugar you are adding on top of that?
I don't think sugar is good for you.
Because
we
when
can
you are putting sugar, I don't know if you're measuring it. You are just
because
adding.
the sugar from mango is different than the sugar you put in tea.
Yes.
So when we're saying, "Oh, your body needs sugar," then I don't think it's
Nah,
the sugar you're putting.
Fruit is different.
That's the sugar I
Yeah.
believe that you need.
Fruit is different than a processed sugar. That when you take the sugar can, run into a machine, you draw the water, and
Yeah.
you do. That's different process. So with me adding that more, I feel like you're adding. You're getting one step closer to diabetes, to all this sugar problem, obesity, and all these things.
And one thing I notice about most of us, we don't really think about the future when we're doing anything.
No, we do not.
Yeah, especially when it comes to eating, it's like, oh, it feels good right now, and whatever consequences.
Yeah.
Because if you also notice, most of us are losing our teeth. Bro, I'm being serious. We're losing our teeth.
Is it because you are not visiting dentists enough, or
And also how the sweetness we used to consume.
So I am drinking something. Yeah.
Hey,
So I put my glass down.
I think I gave you an option, didn't I?
Oh.
I gave you an option, bro.
We can find out what's the sugar on this thing, though. You see, zero. Everything here is zero.
So hopefully they just got the mango and
Yeah, everything here is zero.
I mean,
So I
that's
think
better.
it's good. But
yeah. So we said names, language, and then food.
And food.
We kind of stuck on food.
So I would say more. Let's get more into the culture itself. Okay, the culture itself. Like, what would be something? Let's say back home, there's a way of life that your parents used to do.
A way of life parents use. So it is also kind of complicated, honestly, because the country we came from, like my parents haven't seen their home country in a long time.
Yeah.
Of I don't know how many years. So it's like they don't really know fully what's going on, and then we spend most of our times outside our country. I'm still surprised how I speak my language.
Because you're speaking with the people of your family, the same people. You guys share
Right.
the same culture.
But also writing and reading it is another thing. Yeah, but so it's so hard. How do you raise your kids? You spend most of your life in refugee camp in a different country, And in that refugee camp, there are many people from different places.
Yeah.
Like what influences your kids? Now, how do you go to fight against what's in the face of your kids and what you were brought up with to say this is who we are, and like how do you do that? Well, and then come here
and you meet with a different.
This is a different place. So like how do you fight with that?
Yeah, it's a very great question, and I think the most important things to do as a parent, I think it is for you to try your best to teach your kids the fundamentals of your culture, the good part of the culture. And
we beat our wives where we're from.
And to some it's normal.
That's sickness. Anyway.
But with that, you cannot teach that to your kids. And also our children watch and copy what we say, what we do in front of them.
Yeah, because honestly we can teach whatever we teach. If our actions contradict our teaching, our kids going to pick like action. But also on top of that, it goes back to the conversation we were having before, like men responsibilities.
Yeah.
Where for you to teach something, you have to learn about. You have to know more about it, which means as the parent, as the man, as the mother, you guys have to you have to know. You have to do your own. You have to know about your whatever culture. You have to know how to explain to your kids, because as a father, as a man in the house, the leadership, the men in the house, the definition is you knowing how to teach your kids, and you can't not know how. You can't teach your kids what you don't know.
Yeah,
so, and that's why I'm saying like all the time we need to seek information. We need to seek information, or Google will raise our kids.
It's not good to Google to raise our kid. And I think, this is why it's so important when we are talking about this cultural preservation, because there's this this stigma or this emphasis that, when a parent or our parent, when they start having us, they have this mindset or this way of life that is going to kind of be like a cycle. With the firstborn, they expect you to be the one, to take care of the family, and so they have that, and they put a lot of more resources, if I can say, upon that person, and that person will be the one to kind of run everything down. And so, in that regard, do you think that's a good way?
No,
it's a good culture to carry on.
So I disagree with that in a way. There's not, as a firstborn, of course, I think you get the first hand of everything. Your parents' love, resources, you get the first hand of it. But you should have that privilege. Like you shouldn't be the only one with access to it when your siblings come. Because like all the kids are supposed to be the same in front of their parents.
Yeah.
Now they have different thinking, different way of living, and you as a parent, you need to figure out how to go about it, how to give them the resources. Don't give your second or the last one the resources you were given the first one, as if the young one is going to be like the first one. No, they're all different people. I mean, but they need your like different attention, and that's a tricky question. That's a tricky thing when out here having 10 kids. Like, how do you as a parent going to keep up? Like, okay, this one is good at this one is good at this, because they're not the same at all.
Yeah,
even if they were 20, even if they're 2, they're not the same. So and I think the mistake we make is like we trying to raise our kids the same way. If if I'm going hard on this one or soft on this one, I want to go. So, some need a little, kick more than the others. But what I'm saying is, just because the oldest one, of course, is the first one. They got the first hand of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But they shouldn't be the only one to access everything, because some parents, and today, actually, yesterday, me and my wife were watching a movie where the man refused to send his daughters to school, and then the older brother offered to do it, and the man was like, "Look, you can do whatever you want as long as I don't have to spend a penny." They need to get married. So it's like, if you're sending the first one to school, to the best school you can, all of them need to go. You need to do the same to all of them.
So that's why I ask, because I think parent or African parent in that, well, I don't know, because we have to be able to draw the line between those of us who spend majority of our teenage here in US or abroad, compared to the one living back home. And I think here we have all these different options and different resources, whether our parents support us or not. Like, when I turn 18, bye Felicia, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, the 18 mentality is, I don't agree with it.
But back home, it's still a little bit different, You see somebody who could be older, even above 25 or 30, the parents still have that decision making on top of them at that.
So I don't know about the decision making, but like, are they married? Are they living alone? Are they still living with their parents? I mean, even if you're 15, you're still living with your parents, then I don't think there's anything wrong with your parents making.
But I think, sorry. When we were, you were mentioning the marriage part. I think when it comes to that part, we tend to put a lot of emphasis on
the girls. And those are the culture we need to change. Those are the culture we need to change, because last time, the previous episode, we talked, like you mentioned, like, oh, I haven't seen another Sarah on this generation. But and I believe marriage isn't something to rush into. Marriage isn't something to be forced into, even though we still have a long way to go. Because if you look statistically, women and children are dying from domestic violence, and so we need to ease up on that marriage thing, as if it's something they.
Let me exclude the Western world out of this, okay? Let me focus more on African community. So what is the appropriate age? Let's start with men. What is the appropriate age for men that you can get married, and what is not appropriate for you to get married and have kids?
So marriage is not about age.
I know that. Well, go on.
But I'm sure you don't want to get married at 16.
Our older generation, our parents, grandparents used
they did not want to have sex before marriage. That's why.
Okay.
So they wanted to escape that. But I don't think there's an appropriate age. I think it's all mental, because there's somebody younger than me, when mentality is, you would think they're older than me.
I will disagree on that. I think age play a big factor when it comes to marriage, because first of all, I don't want to be 45, 50 and try to have a kid. You may die soon and leave somebody who's going to take care of that.
I feel like that's a different thing. I mean, for me too, I prefer that. Like, I want to raise and grow up with my kids kind of thing. And there's some people where they prefer, like, I want to make sure I am sure 100%.
Well, Okay,
I don't.
What is the
I don't
sure 100% limit? What is it?
Wait, there's some people that get married at 40, they wait until they're 40, they wait. I don't think there's
So
a pin.
when you're 40, I
Mm.
mean, okay, you know,
I
because
mean, your kids are gonna be the one to drive you to college. You be, but they prefer that. Like, I wanna get married when I'm this age, or like when I feel like I'm ready. Some
culturally
might be hoeing around.
culturally speaking, is that appropriate for us African that we grew up in Africa or that we see? You know, we experience the life in Africa, and so if you're going to say someone has to wait until 30, you know, until 40 to say I'm going to get married. Okay, you get married. When you're going to have your first son, probably you're going to be 40 to 41.
What did you say when you're going to have your first son?
I'm sorry. You know, your first son or your daughter, okay? You may be...
Your first child.
Your first child. Thank you. Let's go down. Your first child. You may have twins. Who knows?
Oh,
you know?
triplets.
Exactly. You may have your first child between maybe by the time you're 41 to 42, okay? So if you want 4 kids, for example, your first one in 20 years, if you got to do the math, in 20 years, you at that time, you're going to be 62.
Yeah, I mean...
The second one, you know, the third, you are not in best place to live longer.
Yeah.
You know, to see the work of the hand, to see the grandchild and all these things.
Yeah, no,
so that's why I think age is a little bit important in our community when it comes to that.
So but what if somebody's not ready? Because if you look, some prophet from the Old Testament.
Well, we are that time is different. We are not living into
No,
this.
so I'm saying personal relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
What if God told him, wait or don't get married? Because there were some prophets where God told him, don't get married.
Mm-hmm. And there were some that still break that rule, and some.
Wait, then but then
all comes down to the relationship you have between you and your God. But when we are talking about culture speaking, you know, we African, we have this mentality that if today I'm not here, there is a work of my hand. You know, my offsprings.
Yeah. That is important, but I think. I think is kind of critical because we can't really tell somebody like, okay, this age you need to get. No, I disagree with that in a way. We do not know that person, one, state of mind, second, financially, because okay, let's say.
So when we financially, what is the amount of money that you must get before to say that I'm financially stable? Because money will never be, people will never going to be satisfied with money.
And people define it differently. People define it differently.
So what is the threshold?
There shouldn't be any. Because one thing I believe, especially when it comes to marriage and having kids,
mm-hmm.
we shouldn't be like, oh, let's have kids. Let me get married quick so I can have kids. Okay, are you going to be able to take care of your kids?
Well, we are living in a country that offer all the social services.
No, those are not there all the time. And that, like, what kind of man are you if you're going to only depend on that for the rest of your life?
I was joking on that. So don't depend on those government services. Please do not.
How long are you going to depend on them?
Those are temporary.
To raise your kids.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. That's why, thanks to the previous episode when we talk about men's responsibility, you know, because there's not an age limit, but I think as a responsible man, don't wait also when it's too late. So
there shouldn't be any age limit.
There have to be.
There shouldn't be.
There have to be. Because if there shouldn't be a late, then tell somebody at 60, 70 should go and have kids.
Yeah, why not?
Nah, who's going to take care of the kids?
Who took care of Nani? Who took care
of who?
Isaac.
Bro, really?
That's Sarah's son, right?
Really? You want to go there?
But no, I don't think there should be any age limit to getting married.
I think there
we don't
should be
have to get married.
I think
One
there
thing I
should be an
disagree
age
with
limit,
though, one
because-
thing I disagree with,
Mhm.
like there shouldn't be any limit to getting married. But there should, like, just cause you like, oh, I'm not ready, you shouldn't be going around messing around. And then when that kid or whatever comes, you can't step up to take care of it. If you did it at 16, you like, and then he comes, don't run away from
No.
your responsibility.
No one under the age of 16 don't go around and
No, I'm saying
and have kids.
whatever age.
My thing is, I'm speaking more up to the adult.
No,
Okay, and this is gonna be up for debate. Whoever is
No, I think there shouldn't be a limit because it's kind of pressure. You pressuring people. Okay, what age should be the limit?
what age should be the limit for men,
For men?
for
Go
all
ahead, tell them.
responsible men. Okay, for all responsible men, and when I say men, no more than 35.
No more than, you shouldn't get married later than 35.
Later than 35.
Okay.
And
Okay.
for women, and this is gonna be for debate. Like I said, you must come here. If you want to attack me, feel free, but the room for debate is open. For women, I think no later than 33.
So what is your reasoning on that age?
My reasoning on that age is this, okay? For the guys, because to me, when you wait it that long,
Mm-hmm.
it tells me you are never serious.
Mm-hmm.
You are never serious. You waited so long. You were running away from your responsibility. Okay, that's why you keep moving forward, despite different reason that could be out there. But I think like someone who's responsible, who is is well educated,
Some
and
of,
all these things. You
Mhm.
know, like I think you have to be able to determine that for how long you're going to have the fun. For how long some people say I can still live my life, I'm having fun. For how long?
so one, okay,
Because
and
you
what
are
is the other, like, what is the actual reason? Not their reasoning. Why do you think that at 35
Mm-hmm.
below,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you should be married as a man? As a woman, 33 should be the latest.
Yeah, women's bodies change.
What is your reasoning?
My reasoning is that women's body change.
No. What is your reason?
I am giving you my reason. Your bodies change.
Mhm.
Okay, the older you are the more closer to death you are getting. So why wait later and start giving birth to all these kids, and you are not going to live longer to be able to be there for them in the first place?
And for men,
Well, I think I kind of put both together. For men,
but men can give birth even 200 years old.
but that's my problem. Why you know that you're going to give a birth and you are not going to live longer to be able to take care of your responsibility?
Okay, so the reason why I disagree with it, the assumption is you're getting married so you can have the kids so you can take care of them. What if you get into that marriage, and we've seen it around,
Mhm.
what if you get into that marriage and you can't give birth, a guy or a woman?
A guy, well, that is a different complete situation.
But
Uncle
that's
T.
the
No.
assumption. We
You
shouldn't
know,
get
no.
married just so we
No.
can have kids.
That is a
That's
different.
us being selfish.
Okay, let me explain. That is a different situation, and when marriage is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, marriage is sacred. When
Mhm.
God decides for two people to come together,
Mm-hmm.
and He blessed them with all those wonderful things, benefit that come with marriage as a package.
Mm-hmm.
God knows why. If somebody were born and had certain problems, God knows why.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, because those cases, it
And
is
also
not
Paul-
a lot,
And
but
also,
there are few
mm-hmm.
in that cases. But it does not mean you cannot still try. There's a lot of way for you to try
so
to
but
try to
should-
have kids.
So should having kids should be number one priority for you to get married?
No. It shouldn't be a number one priority for you to get married. But I think when you get married, okay, Because come on, honestly, the two of you just talking to each other, you tend to get like
I'm trying to tell you why I disagree with. There shouldn't be an age limit.
There have to be an age limit.
There shouldn't be. You have to be mentally stable.
Oh, really?
Because you can be 30 and we've seen 30 some plus years old, and like, what is wrong with him?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to like put a child in those people's life?
In whose hand? People, well,
like unstable, and
if they're not stable in what way?
Mentally, where
then they need to be checked into the mental facility,
and where the children come and they don't take care of it.
Ooh.
Why should no? There's those.
If those people knows that their head is messed up, they are not mentally stable. Okay, so they should be in the mental facility.
For me, what I'm saying, mentally unstable, is when you sleep with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
When you sleep with a woman, you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the child come.
Oh, you mean in that regard?
You know, the deadbeat's dad. And some of them are like...
Perfect. They're going to stay there and take care of their kids.
They're in that age. But we see a lot of them that run away from it. That's not mentally stable.
Okay. But most of those people, they were not ready. Because the thing is, Uncle T, so this is what I'm saying. I'm talking about marriage. I'm not talking about someone outside of marriage. Because now it seems like you're talking about a person who's outside of marriage. That wasn't ready. Because when I got married, I know that I'm ready. When kids come, I know that I have a responsibility to take care of it.
There's some couples, I have seen many of them where they marry. 1 and 2. One out of them refused to have the child. Like, I don't want kids right now. But the other one want kids. And then they end up divorcing. I personally know people that divorced because of that reasoning.
That, Uncle Chi,
When they ready to
it's a very interesting topic. And that's why I think couple weeks when we did, I remember we did a segment on marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think it's very important for anyone, before you get into a marriage, talk about those things.
No, we can talk about those things. Like, if I'm trying to get in your pants, like, I will agree with everything you say.
This is getting interesting.
I know.
This is why it's very.
I will agree with everything you say as long as I can get between your legs.
Okay, let's talk about this thing.
As long as I can take advantage of you, and then when I'm finished with divorce.
But that is what is so important.
That's not mentally stable.
Okochi, that is so very important for the two parties who are involved in that communication, to make sure that this is the right way. Because you know what,
bro,
Uncle Chi,
I can pretend.
Uncle Chi, and this is why it is important for you, okay, to pray a lot. Because if you can pretend, but if I'm true to my God, God will reveal to me that this person is not the right person for you. Okay. Because God do warn us about everything before it happened to us. But we tend to ignore that ourselves.
But bro, and we've seen that in a Christian community where the women are suffering.
Because they never pray to God. They were more focusing on the
urge.
Yeah,
because
urge of
Paul, you know what Paul said? He was like, if you as a man or a woman, if you cannot hold yourself,
mm-hmm.
then get married.
Uncle Chi.
So it's like the urge, you should get married for that urge.
You know, Uncle Chi, if Christian of people in general, okay, dedicate their life to Christ from early on, okay, started praying God without any distraction, be true to themselves, to the moment they say, God, I want you to give me the man that will, love me, that will be this. How you want it? You pray to God every single day and night. God will fulfill your prayer. But most of the time, we tend to see people pretending. People only, if you see, in a lot of churches, people come to church when they need something, when they're in trouble. But the moment they get what they need, guess what? They are gone.
Well, I don't. We need to why do we shouldn't go to church? Because anyway, that's another conversation.
No, but those are the things that I'm telling you.
No.
A lot of people are pretenders.
Let's go back to culture.
Yes.
Let's go back to culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say you did that.
Mm-hmm.
what should come first, your culture or the
You
God?
did what?
So let's say when it comes to marriage.
Yes.
Wait, how did we end up to marriage anyway?
Well, it's all part of
culture.
cultural
Yeah, culture.
preservation.
Okay, culture. So let's say when it comes to marriage, let's say you found someone outside your culture.
Speak. So when you find someone outside of, so the question should be, should you marry outside of your culture, stay in your culture? Is that what you're trying to put it?
Yes. Because there's some people, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want to marry somebody from wherever I'm from. That's your preference.
Yes.
But I don't think.
Well, if you have to give an example, you are the perfect person for that.
Oh yeah,
example.
I'm a perfect person because for me, I didn't put my culture first.
Okay.
And I'm not ashamed.
Was your culture? Did you break your culture when you decide to marry outside of your culture, marry from a different country?
So I don't know if I broke any culture because
anyone has ever come to you say, bro, you were supposed to marry a Burundian girl.
Many people.
Many people did.
Many people. And
okay.
For me, the example I always give is again, there's nothing wrong with marrying your culture. There's nothing wrong with marrying inside your culture. Outside
love is
your
universal.
Culture. Your love is universal.
But as Africans, we are allowed to marry within the African community.
Yeah, I don't think it's okay. Let's say I don't think it is an obligation. If you find somebody outside your culture,
yes,
I don't think it's an obligation to marry your culture. So, and in what way? As for me, I don't think I didn't put okay. She has to be from where I'm from. She don't like. There's nothing wrong with my people at all. But like I was never in my life where I was like, I'm going to marry a person that's from here.
Yes.
No. That's me. But there's some people like I have to marry somebody that's from here.
My culture.
You see, like we two different people. When you're trying to put that on me as if I'm, like, oh, you marry outside your culture as if something wrong, then there we have issues. There we will have issue. We will have issue. We will I disagree with it.
Yeah.
100%. We can go culturally and we can go biblically.
Yeah.
Culturally, just because you marry somebody inside your culture doesn't mean you're going to have the best marriage. Correct. And just because you marry outside your culture doesn't mean you're going to have the best marriage. It depends what you put first.
Yeah.
And biblically, I can give you a few examples.
No, that you are right on that. I do agree with everything you say, okay? But me personally, I think it's like we are allowed, as Africans, we are allowed to marry within the African community. African
outside the community, love doesn't count?
Love does count, but I'm talking about more about African because I'm an African, okay? And I think it's more for us to preserve our culture, our continent, our the resources and all these things. That's why I'm going that way, to preserve our African heritage. Because if you're talking about colonizer coming to colonize us, and I would disagree with that, so then let us.
And what if somebody finds someone or decide to marry outside the African culture?
Well, that's good for that person. As long as that person is happy and,
should happiness be the first priority or should culture be the first priority?
Yeah. As long as you maintain our African heritage and the African culture, that will be fine with me.
But there's some people, and I'll be honest with you, where I'm not one of them. I'm married outside. I'm married outside, whatever you want to call it, but I'm like 100% pure Burundian. From toes to head, Burundian.
Yes.
And I will never there's never a place where I will go and deny that I'm Burundian. But there's some people, they decide to get married outside whatever they're from or whatever they consider their culture and want nothing to do with it.
Well, not even that. We do see certain people who.
Go ahead, man. It's okay. I cannot fight, but I'm sure you can.
But since we are talking about culture preservation, okay. For example, I'm going to use my fellow Rwandese people for example. Okay, this is very important subject topic that it has been a battle between Congo and Rwanda forever. Why is that? Always, because if you are going to talk about preserving our culture and all these things, why they always try to claim to deny the heritage, where they're from, to claim to be Congolese. To me, I feel like they're erasing the Rwandese culture.
So I know exactly what you are talking about, and that topic, honestly, is for some other time.
But I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
When I'm talking about cultural preservation, we have to preserve our culture. We have to preserve our heritage. We have to preserve,
and what
our
if they
culture.
don't? Okay, you know what? Let's just get into it. What if they don't identify with that culture?
They don't identify with that culture.
The culture you claiming that they're denying.
So did they just appear to be somewhere, or were you born? You can just deny that. Like, be proud of your culture despite of anything that happened. Whether it has to, like.
This topic is more political than any culture.
It is.
So,
but I think,
and
the bottom line is, be proud of your culture, embrace it, and share your culture. If you want to make it, promote your culture, do it. Don't be shy. Don't be ashamed of your culture.
What about the culture? Hey, if I die, my younger brother will marry my wife.
I will slap anybody.
You'll be dead.
I will slap you. If God gave me the power to get off my coffin to slap you, I will do that, because that is so stupid. So you are telling me unto when I'm going to die? Those are the things you see. Certain younger brother, guess what? They end up killing the older brother
because they like their wife.
I be like, again, those are the stories we see still happening. But no, those kind of culture should be abolished.
What if? And what about the other one where it's like the oldest? The oldest should do this and this. Is because most of the time they assume the oldest is the son. What if it happened to be a girl?
Where they usually disclaimer. They never give her.
And then they'll be like the oldest son.
Exactly. They have to give it to the son.
No, that is stupid.
That's so stupid.
Because you know what they use? They use the woman will leave the parent house. She will get married to the other family, so she become theirs. But the Bible tell both men and the woman that they're gonna leave their house
and go become one.
So why can't in our culture a woman? I have never heard a woman carrying the family name. Why can't the woman carry the family's name?
Why? Woo! This conversation is getting nice. Well,
I mean, the woman is supposed to take the
husband's name.
The husband's name.
Because a woman cannot marry a man. That's just totally wrong. Okay,
so automatically a woman cannot take the family last name. Family last name.
It is not a requirement, but God said it that way.
No. I agree with you when it comes to carrying your husband's name. But it's there. I'm saying, like, a woman, let's say your daughter.
Yes.
To carry your last name to forever. Whereas,
she get married to keep her last name.
Like, to carry the legacy of your last name. Where when you leave company, she'll be the one in charge of it, because that's what I mean. Like, carry the last name of the family.
Well, I think it is really a complex situation in that regard, because even if I leave a company to my daughter, and then she end up getting married, she has to follow, she has to follow her husband. and she has to be able to be obedient to her husband, and her husband is supposed to love her.
But obedience doesn't mean she should give up running your company.
No, well, she shouldn't, because this is what we come down. Me personally, okay, I don't know about certain people, but me, in that regard, if I have a company and I have a daughter, okay, and my daughter was running it until she got married, okay, let's say the husband also is educated, meet the requirement that the company you require somebody to be at the top of the company that can be run it, then that will be where the situation is going to be decided between them two, my daughter and the husband. What they have to decide that between them two, whether like I'm going to decrease the amount of my responsibility and you're going to overtake more responsibility. That's going to be the conversation between them two, not because of me. Because if I retire from the company, then hey, them two need to figure out what are their priority, what they need, all those small things. That's going to come with the two of them to make the decision as a husband and wife, how they're going to be able to take care of and that company, keeping that company moving forward, as the company keeping growing and growing. So that's how I will approach that situation. I will always try to make sure that the husband be respected, feel that, because
what if your son-in-law actually marry your daughter for that reason, and when he take over your company, he screw her over and you over.
He screwed me over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is it's a good scenario that you give. I think it's all going to come down to, because things just doesn't happen overnight. That's why you have all this accounting, this finance department, keeping everyone check, making sure that we are not
family companies, they run like African
never
countries.
Let your family to run your company. That's why you have
African countries.
You have law firm to
African family companies are the African countries are run like family companies.
Yes.
It's like, and then what the head of the state or what the head of the company says goes.
And that is a very bad thing. It needs to change. If you're going to talk about companies, those need to change. That's why you need governing bodies. Like we call a board of directors, okay? Those to be able to check with you to make those decisions. Hey guys, at least there has to be a check and balance. And I think that's going to be the best way to keep company moving forward.
Yeah. But anyway, back to, like the last culture. So culture is another huge topic. Should we continue with more
yes.
like we did with relationships?
Yes.
I think so. I think this was an intro to culture.
Yeah. And
so we're going to focus on each, marriage.
Yeah. With this, we got about a few minutes.
I don't know. We decide. People complain that we have a long video.
Well, when my wife and I, when we first got married, and I think on the one or two occasions, we invited people at our place, and from their culture, that when men are eating, women cannot eat, or when men are eating, women cannot be at the same table, or they have to be somewhere that's separate, but the man has to eat first.
And how did that go?
Oh, well, the first time I didn't knew that was what was happening. I was enjoying food. I realized towards the end, like, why you guys are not eating?
Oh, they cannot eat on the same plate as a woman.
Yeah, so later on.
What kind of and we call those things culture. What kind of culture is that?
Later on,
she doesn't have a stomach, eh?
Later on, she told me, and this is and this. You know what I did the following year, bro? I made them eat. My house, my rule.
Of course.
I made them wait
for the women to finish. So it goes back to the first episode. That person was you.
They hated me.
That's okay. They'll be fine.
But yeah, we hope to continue this culture preservation topic, next time. And I think it's good. I like it.
That was nice.
I think there's a lot that we're going to talk about our African culture, and definitely I'm happy that we discussed this and that we started this conversation. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys and subscribe.
All right. All right, man.
All right. Peace guys.